This is Smokie. He is a Grand Hunt Retriever champion, SRS Open champion, SRS Amateur champion, SRS U champion, and a Master Hunter. First year I ran the Crown, I got Sarge qualified, and I lost him in like the 4th series. The next year, came back, had Sarge and Smokie qualified. Sarge went out on the big blind in the 1st series due to his hearing loss, and Smokie ended up getting 5th that year. And then last year came back and Smokie got 3rd. So we're hoping that he can keep improving. He is very consistent. You know, he's won the Team of the Year this year, he won the Team of the Year last year, and he was 2nd in Team of the Year first year that he ever ran. And he's very consistent, and as you can see, he loves this game and loves me, and I love him.
The Behind the Line podcast is proudly sponsored by our esteemed retriever partners, Eukanuba. If you want to get the most of your dog in your training sessions, you need nutrition that holds nothing back. Eukanuba's premium performance lineup is built with the nutrients that dogs need to help unleash their maximum potential. Check out the Eukanuba premium performance lineup and find your dog's fuel at eukanubasportingdog.com. We'd also like to acknowledge the invaluable support from Elite Retrievers. In the world of retriever training, Pat Burns knows that true success isn't just about training the dog, it's about training the people too. With over 40 years of expertise, Pat is your ultimate ally in this journey. Check out EliteRetrievers.com and take your retriever training to the next level. Hello and welcome to a special episode of Behind the Line here at the 2023 Super Retriever Series Crown Championship presented by Eukanuba. Hello everyone, I'm David Hamilton alongside Luke Core, Pat Burns, and our guest here today is actually John Lamar from Statesboro, Georgia, who finished 5th in the amateur competition here at the WK Palmetto Event Center in Shreveport, Bossier City, Louisiana. And guys, we had a great event. John and team, you came in, you were the Amateur Team of the Year, one of the favorites to compete here this weekend, and then Luke, John ends up finishing 5th here. Got to be proud to get another ribbon for his dog.
That's right. Congratulations, John. You had a great week. You know, you came in here, you had the target on your back. You were the dog to beat, and then when you came in and you started off with a strong series, and you started off in the lead. What was your thoughts going into the 2nd series after coming in strong in the 1st?
Well, I was in first after the 1st, and that was always a good place to be, but you've got everybody, like I said, have a target on my back, so which I don't really mind that. So I was comfortable with it. I said, well, I just got to do what we got to do, and we went to the 2nd series, and he did pretty good in the 2nd series.
So does the knowing your score, does that make it easier or more difficult for you?
It makes it easier.
Okay.
It does. That way you know where you're at and what you got to do and know which way you got to go.
We run the order in highest score to lowest score. So obviously you had the leading score after the 1st series. So coming into the 2nd series, you were going to run late. And sometimes that works out great, and sometimes it doesn't work out so great. Is being at the end of the pack where you want to be in the running order every time?
Sometimes it works out in your benefit, sometimes it doesn't. Like when I ran the 2nd series, we had a no bird or something happen, and we had to sit in the holding blind a few minutes. When I finally got time to go up to the line, it started drizzling rain, and the fog was coming in, so visibility was getting bad. The go bird went off. Smokie had a huge hunt on the go bird, which was unusual because I felt like he knew where it was, but it was in some thick cover. I don't know if the rain had something to do with it or what, but the time, if I'd have run 30 minutes earlier, I think he would have had a better run, but
right.
Yeah, that's just the luck of the draw.
Sometimes when that wind dies down later in the evening and you know that the conditions have changed for the worse and are going to make things harder, and as a game plan going into a series like that, do you feel like you have to play it more safe, or are you going to take more of a chance? What are you looking for in your dog to do for you to have to change your plan on the fly?
With Smokie, I don't try to play it safe, or I don't try to do anything special. I just take him out there, try to pick up one bird at a time as clean as I can, and hope for the best. He's a pretty good marker, and he usually can tell me where it's at better than I know where it's at. So I felt like he knew where the go bird was, and he put up a big hunt, and he went to the area a couple times. He just couldn't dig it out, and I think the scent conditions caused that, because he's usually one that can dig a bird out when other dogs can't. He's a fun-loving dog. He loves everything to do with retriever games. He's actually leaving. Steven is leaving from here, going to Grand Train, I think in Mississippi, to go to the Grand in Kentucky. That'll be his 5th Grand. He's going to run that, and then they're leaving from there, going to the Master National. So he loves to hunt. He doesn't get to do a whole lot of hunting because he's always doing some sort of competition. We're going to try a little bit of field trial stuff coming up just to see what he can do. I ran him in one amateur, did pretty good, didn't place, but he did really well. Did a lot better than I thought he would. If he'd had a good handler, he might have placed. I'm still learning as well.
How early in a run in any of the series are you knowing, okay, Smokey's on it today, or okay, Smokey's going to need a little bit more of my help here because he didn't mark it as well as I thought he would?
I felt like he knew where everything was all the way through every series. He just didn't cooperate in a couple of them. I trust him. He leads the show a lot better than I do.
So being later in the running order and getting to see the other handlers' scores, and it kind of gives you the game plan on how the judges are judging and how you need to run your dog a little bit. When you go into, say, the finals and you get to run a little bit later and you don't know how the scoring is, are you trying to score those dogs before you in your head? Are you trying to figure out how they're judging? Does, in the finals, not knowing the scores, does that change the way you run your dog at all?
Not really. It does, because if somebody goes out there and kills it and I know we've got a 20-point gap or whatever, I know that I've got to do better than they did. I don't really worry about what everybody else does. I learned a long time ago, I've got to worry about what me and my dog do and not worry about the competition. And it'll all fall where it's going to fall, and let the judges keep the scores. And if I get up there and try to keep score, it just confuses me and makes it hard for me to do what I'm supposed to do.
That's right, that's right.
Because the dogs and the handlers are doing so good, and they're trying to, it's almost like they're running out of things to throw at us to try to challenge us. Because the dogs everybody's training for all the tricks and everything that they can throw at you. So it's very challenging, but that's what I like about it. That poison bird that we had in the second series was, it wiped out a bunch of dogs, and I thought Smokie was going, but we survived. So that's what makes this game fun.
John, Lamar, and Smokie, Team of the Year winners.
Looks like he got a good look at the long bird.
Yep, there we see it right before the break. Clark and Daisy Rip put up a 66. Did a really good job on the go bird and the middle bird. Had a clean handle, but had to handle off of the big point of land there all the way across the big water to get that bird in 66. And so as you can see, that was a pretty nice job. But
Daisy and Clark, of course, with that 66, gives them a 221.
Means 208 came in, and that means that Carter and Shooter are guaranteed a spot now. I said it earlier and I was wrong. Actually, I was predicted. They are
you're
now
predicting the
guaranteed
future.
a spot in the final 6. John doesn't waste any time kicking Smokie off here at all.
Got a nice big visible bird on this go bird here. Looks like he's in a good spot. He's just got to checking up maybe at just a little bit short. That should get your bird here pretty quick.
Tell you, the wind's
Right.
coming in the dog's favor if you get just a little bit deep of it.
Sometimes you feel like you're everywhere but right on top of the bird.
I'm really shocked that this dog has not
Wait a minute
winded
now.
this bird yet.
Right there.
Yeah. You see where that dog picked that bird up, gives you a really good indication of how.
I felt the wind a little bit on my right ear quartering away, so he needed to get behind the bird to wind it, so you can kind of see how that played out.
Yeah, and that gave you a good indication of how deep the bird was. I thought the dog was behind it and should be winning it, but he was actually hunting just a little bit in front of it.
Smokie.
Under the arc of that bird. And pretty sporty.
Nice job there.
You're thinking 2 down, 1 to go.
Mm-hmm.
Smokie.
Tell you
Kind
what,
of
that's
went
a
where he
long
wanted
way
to
the
look
right.
initially, and he's going to
Good
put that.
decision.
Guys, did you notice the light hitting the back of that camper exactly that way?
I was just thinking about that. I wonder if that's
I just
what
looked up and I
pulled
thought
his attention.
something.
Something got his attention for sure.
See how the lighting is just.
Shining off the back of that camper.
Tell you, John's a very experienced amateur. He knows right here that right now it's about damage control. He's definitely still in a decent position.
I can see the dog's tail in front of the holding blind there for a second. That popped up. Difficult to tell the depth. This dog's still quite a bit short. You almost felt like you could use another one right there before he went over the ridge. From this view, it feels like he's right at near the holding line, but he must be, you know, I don't know, 30, 40 yards short. Did he make a move to the right?
There he
Yeah,
is.
he did too.
Just
Boy,
the left frame of your camera there. Now he's back in the
Now
center.
he's back over there. He's going to handle right to the bird, which.
But you know, that speaks volume to how challenging this actually is. I mean, if the jib can't see him with his zoom lens, how hard is it on these
Oh.
handlers who have normal
absolutely.
vision and are trying to look out there and see their dog?
Very challenging.
Should pick it up right there.
Yep.
You know, it shows you if you kind of looked at the replay of where that dog wanted to look when he first spun around. As hard as he worked at changing his mind, he never really did. He went there, even when he handled, he kept just was insistent on looking to the right.
How difficult is it to switch from hunt test style of handling to a more of a field trial style of handling, and especially within the test itself?
With Smokie, he'll take on anything you throw at him. That's one of the great things about him is it doesn't matter if it's the big white coat setup or the hunt test with the guns and the mutt huts and everything else. He usually adapts to any of it. He loves the game, and like I say, if I had another dog, I might have to think a lot more about it. But with him, he pretty much runs the show.
One of the things that I noticed that has got to be a challenge, when there were a couple situations where you were looking at a field trial style mark, and then there was a huge delay while you grabbed the gun and maneuvered, and it was almost like some of the dogs acted like, are we going to do anything? Do you train for something like that with those long gaps between when one bird goes off and then you readjust the whole scenario?
Not really. Most of our training, we run a lot of singles, a lot of delayed singles. We'll run a bunch of doubles. We don't do a whole lot of triples and quads in training. We focus more on the foundation instead of the overall game, because we feel like if the foundation is not good, then you're going to have problems later on down the line.
So I guess it was the 4 series where they threw the really long retired gun across 2 pieces of water. And then, again, there was a long delay between that when you grabbed the gun and you resituated yourself. When I watched that was very different for me. And I find that, I can see where that would really be challenging, and for the dog.
Yes, and I think the dogs focused on the long bird. They saw it go down, and then they come back and you change games, get the gun out, blow the duck call, do all that stuff. So it's I can't help but think it's burning some memory. And it showed. There's a lot of dogs that knew where the long bird was, but didn't choose to go that route, and picked up the short birds without any problem.
Do you think they thought it was a single at that point?
I really don't. I'm not sure. I don't know what Smokie thought, because he went way right, and I had to handle him.
But when he watched the bird, and there was nothing else going on, no other guns to look at.
He probably did think it was a single, and then we were like a delayed setup.
They're partners, ready to do whatever it takes. Athletes that pound for pound can outrun, outwork, and outperform anybody you're watching on Sunday. No contract required. You don't waste that kind of potential. You train it, fuel it, unleash it. You feed nutrition that holds nothing back. The Eukanuba Premium Performance Lineup.
Training the dogs is one thing, but training the people, that's really where it is. Because now they can be better to their dogs. Their dogs can trust them more, and they're going to be more successful. And I've done a lot of coaching of people at Nationals, and it's really what turns me on, is putting together the dog-handler combination and helping them understand each other. And, well, success is bound to happen when you can do that.
Well, I think he coaches me all the time. I look to him to remember where the marks are, because he'll come back and tell me where they are. Luckily, he can see a lot better than I can, and he knows a whole lot more about this stuff. But I go by reading him more than him reading me, I believe. I try to line him up. Sometimes when I line him up, we end up not doing good. When I listen to him, usually do good.
John, what's next for you and Smokie?
He is actually on the way to the Grand. Stephen is gone Grand training now. I got him, after we got all the pictures taken yesterday, got him delivered to Stephen, and they're going to train for the next few days and go run the Grand. Then he's going to run the Master National. After that, he's going to hopefully take 2 or 3 weeks off. But I'm thinking about starting to play a little bit in the field trial game, run a couple amateurs. We ran one earlier in the year. He actually did pretty good. If he'd had a good handler, I could have handled in the last series and probably got a placement with him, but I always heard if you handle in a field trial, you might as well pick him up. And he checked up short on a bird, hunted around a little bit, went hunting all over the place, and I finally ended up picking him up, and everybody there was like, "Why didn't you handle?" I was like, because they said pick him up if you handle, or you're wasting your time. And I was chewing on the whistle the whole time, because all I needed was a 10-yard back cast, and he would have picked up the bird and probably placed in the top 3.
Well, one thing I know is no matter what game Smokie's playing, he's going to be near the top, because he's a model of consistency, Congratulations again on being the Eukanuba Team of the Year and for finishing 5th here at the Crown Championship. John, Lamar, and Smokie, 5th place in the 2023 Super Retriever Series Crown Championship presented by Eukanuba.